Howdy, howdy. Welcome on in to the pre-show. Before the free show, you have a pondering look on your face.
I always have a pondering look on my face. Do you know why? 'Cause I'm always pondering, Pickle! I'm always thinking. I'm always thinking one step ahead, trying to get ahead of these people. I don't know who these people are.
Who are you calling these people?
You, functionally. Hello, everybody. Welcome on to the pre-show before the free show. My name's Greg Tepper. That's Ashley Pickle. We are your hosts here on this show, and then we'll do a transition, which will be our intro to the real show, and then it'll be us again. So
don't get your hopes up that better people are coming.
We don't do like a line change or anything. It's just us, like same hosts for both the pre-show and when are we going to start doing a post-game show?
The post-game show is tonight.
I guess the post-game show is tonight.
The post-game show is definitely tonight.
I guess that's right.
Really recapping like on the whole day. Like this isn't even just a TFT post-game. This is like a normal Thursday at work post-game.
Yeah, it's true. That's true. We were talking before this.
Yeah.
And by we, I mean the whole office. We were all gathered together. First of all, I'm just going to air my grievances about my boss on the air, which is just always a really good idea.
Yeah, that's what I do all the time.
True enough. Microphone that he paid for, table that he paid for, on the broadcast that he's paying for.
Yeah.
Hi, Adam. When we moved into this office 3.5 years ago,
oh, God.
we were promised an arcade game.
Yeah.
We were now, this is before your time. You were still in diapers. Like, this is...
Objectively not true.
This was... I mean, I don't know. We were promised, and we were shopping. Max Thompson, Poochie, he will attest to this. We were supposed to get an arcade cabinet. We were supposed to get, and we were like, man, do we want to get NFL Blitz? Do we want to get NBA Jam?
You
we get,
you can get those for not much.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, stuff like that. We always wanted to do that, right? That was when we moved into this office. It was like June 2018, I want to say.
Okay.
June 2018. It's now been almost 3.5 years.
Yeah.
And Pickle, you walked around the office today.
Yes, I took my daily lap.
Your daily lap.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see an arcade cabinet?
There was an astonishing lack of arcade cabinet.
Mm-hmm.
Which isn't cool.
Hmm.
There's no fun things in this. Like, our Wheel of Questions is probably the most fun thing, and you know what that is? That is literally you walking up once a day, kicking it, just so it makes an annoying noise, and then we're done. I hope you get caught on your headphones. Yeah, this literally happens once a day, and then he just stares at me because he knows that it's annoying. But other than that, there's no fun. I see zero fun. Chandra has a cool chair in her office.
Like we really do have like a big lack of for a cool office.
Yeah, and the office itself visually is super cool.
It's a cool office, and I also think I don't know. I'm just saying, I think this is a cool company.
Yeah, it is. There's a lot of cool people in these walls. Yeah,
I think that we do cool things. I think a lot of people would like to work for us. You know what I mean? Like I think that working in football media, and then basketball media, and all that fun stuff. I think it's fun.
Yeah.
And yet our office has a decided fun a gap, a big
really
fun
does.
deficit.
Yeah, we got a new I feel like this really puts it out there, but when we got a new water dispenser, we were all pumped because it was something new in the office, and we got pumped over a water dispenser.
I know.
And the first one had ice, and then it got taken away from us, and now I'm really sad about that too. But the point here is we need more fun.
We need more fun things. I've told you, we need an arcade cabinet and we need a bar cart. I think those are two easy things that we can do to really liven up this place.
I do too.
And here's the thing, and I'll give credit to Chandra. Because Chandra Lancaster, who's our director of operations,
she's actually like our director of fun.
She's also she's the head of
the party planning committee.
No, you beat me to it. She's the head of the party planning committee, and I'm the head of the committee to plan parties. But
you had one job, Phyllis.
But she has tried. We've had a Thanksgiving potluck.
Yep, that was good. I was going to say, we were getting there, and then COVID kind of ripped it away.
I agree.
But we need to get back on our BS.
What I'm saying is, we need things in the office that are fun, not just fun events.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
We need fun things. Because right now, it's just I don't know, I don't think that it is particularly noteworthy anymore in the year of our Lord 2021 that we have televisions in the office.
No.
It's like, yeah, I do have we have a big TV and we watch like a big soccer match. Like that's the most fun thing we have in this office.
Yeah.
We've got to close the fun deficit in this office.
I agree.
That's what we've got to do. So, what I want you to do is
Chandra's in the comments. So our director of fun is she's hearing us.
That's what I'm saying. We need to do something to close the fund deficit because it's crippling us. I think it's crippling us. I feel that my morale is slipping every day.
Yes.
Every day. And there's only one thing that can fix that, and that's NFL Blitz.
We're just being honest.
Just absolutely wrecking Ishmael Johnson on NFL Blitz. I hope he's watching. That's right.
Call him out.
You. We'll bury you 9 feet underground. All right, hit the theme, Max. Let's go. Free money! Yes, yo! From the Dave Campbell's Texas Football Mothership here in beautiful Lewisville, Texas, it is Texas Football Today, a show online. My name's Greg Tupper. I don't know why I'm talking like that. I'm the managing editor of Dave Campbell's Texas Football,
Shut it down.
a magazine, TexasFootball.com, a corresponding website. Thank you for spending part of your day with us, whether you're watching us live on TexasFootball.com, on Facebook, on YouTube, or on Twitch, or you're listening to us on the podcast, which you can subscribe to on the podcast vendor of your choice. Either way, thank you for doing your part to support your local, mediocre internet show. I am sitting over there at the helm today, making us sound good. She's the Duchess of the Dorks. She's Ashley Pickle. Hello, Ashley Pickle.
Howdy, team.
Let's do the intro.
Okay.
And then I want to talk about what we're doing tonight.
Okay.
Today is Thursday, October 14th, 2021. It's 42 days till Thanksgiving. Happy birthday to... Whose birthday is today? If you have a birthday in the comments. Oh,
Okay, there's an obvious one.
happy birthday to Usher.
Usher, baby.
My wife would straight up leave me for Usher.
I would... Yes.
That's
That is... Yes.
That's been true for a long time. It was true when we first met. It's true 15 years later. She will absolutely leave me for Usher.
A good woman.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Episode 1261. On today's show, guys, big show. Large show. Epic show. I don't get to say. We are going to tell you what to stream this weekend. Sit on your couch and watch some football and work on your butt groove.
You bet,
butt groove guy. We're going to tell you what games to stream and what games to watch and when to watch them. The best games to watch this weekend. We got that. Then we'll be joined by the head coach of the Abernathy Antelopes. Coach Justin Wiley will join us. Unbeaten Abernathy against unbeaten Idalou. We're going to make him give us his game plan.
A banger.
Coming up here in just a moment. That's not true. No, we're not going to do that. Then back half of the show, we've got the picks, my high school football predictions for Week 8 of the Texas high school football season, followed by some college football burning questions, including, has North Texas figured out their offense? And other questions that I can't remember right now. Coming up here at the back half of the program. Do it first four through the door?
We sure do. It was Aaron Arbuckle, Coach Terry Crawford, Rob Hadaway, and Tony Blaylock. Welcome in, fellas.
Terry Crawford's on a heater. He's on a first four heater.
He is. He really is. It's because you said that you would keep saying his undefeated streak.
Because the Abbott Panthers are undefeated.
Yep.
6-0? Did I say 6-0? I think they're 6-0. 6-0. Shout out Panthers.
I think he said 7-0 the other day. I could be wrong.
I can look this up.
There's this really cool website called TexasFootball.com.
They're 7-0. I apologize. Put some respect on the Panthers' name. They're 7-0.
Ha!
Pickle, let's talk about what we're doing tonight. Tonight, live on Facebook, on YouTube, and on Twitch, you can watch Vandergrift versus Cedar Ridge. Big-time Austin area showdown in Texas high school football, District 25-6A. I think maybe the District 25-6A title's on the line, especially if Cedar Ridge wins. As Cedar Ridge takes on Vandergrift, you can watch it live for free, courtesy of our friends at Texan Live. And Our friend Tommy Yarsh is going to be on the call.
Mm-hmm.
I would certainly recommend that you go and listen to Tommy call it.
Yes.
We'll try to pipe in some audio through the broadcast as well. But we will be in studio watching the game and commenting on it. It'll be myself. It'll be Ishmael Johnson. It'll be Ashley Pickle, Television's own Ashley Pickle.
Yes,
And we will be joined in studio by two very big-time guests. We'll be joined by the head coach of the West Mesquite Wranglers, Coach Frank Sandoval will join us. And we'll be joined by the head coach of the South Lake Carroll Dragons, Coach Riley Dodge will join us in studio. We can watch the game. You can watch the game live for free. Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch, courtesy of our friends at Texan Live, along with outstanding commentary from Riley Dodge, Frank Sandoval, Ishmael Johnson, Ashley Pickle, and myself. Tonight, 7 o'clock is kickoff. We'll probably get going right at 7 o'clock, right?
Yeah.
We're going right at 7 o'clock, so make sure you tune in, lock in, hang out with us. We'll be having a good time tonight. So make sure you tune in tonight for the DCTF watch along tonight. Vandegrift and Cedar Ridge with big in-studio guests. Basically, what we're saying is the Manning cast stole our idea.
Yes, because
This is the high school football Manning cast, except we did it first.
we literally did. There is evidence.
Yeah. Go check the tapes.
Yep.
We did it first. Ridiculous. Pickle! It's another football weekend, and with that, we don't want you to leave your couch. We are in this for your safety. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
It's dangerous out there.
Yeah, the weather is grody.
It's did you say grody?
Yeah.
It's wet. It's icky. It's all sorts of nasty. And so we don't want you to leave your couch. We want you to be comfortable on your couch. Because you know what? You bought that couch.
You did. You paid for it.
You own that couch.
You do.
Unless you're renting it. In which case, you're renting that couch. Whatever the ownership status of your couch is, let's work on that butt groove.
Butt groove guide.
It's time for the butt groove guide. We're going to tell you what games to stream this weekend, to watch this weekend, so that you don't have to leave. You can just hang out on your couch and work on your butt groove. Maybe your significant other is going to come up and say, hey, why don't you get off the couch? And your response should be, because Ashley Pickle and Greg Tepper told me not to.
Yeah.
Blame us.
Yes.
Let's talk about Thursday. Thursday.
Dateline.
First of all, let's be clear about what you should be doing. Tonight, make sure for free, courtesy of our friends at Texan Live, you can watch Cedar Ridge and Vandegrift live from the Palace on Palmer. Is the Cedar Ridge as the Cedar Ridge Raiders take on the Vandegrift Vipers in the Critical District 25-6A. It's our watch along. You can watch it live on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitch. We'll be tweeting out stream information and stuff whenever the stream goes live. It'll be at 7 o'clock tonight. That's the game you absolutely need to be locked in on. Okay. Elsewhere on Texan Live, we do have a 6 o'clock game, Fort Bend Dulles and Fort Bend Elkins. If you are interested in that kind of thing, you can watch that. Also, on Texan Live, 6:30, Cy Springs and Cy Falls, another important game there in that Cy Fair ISD. But then things really get cooking. There's also Cy Fair Northbrook. I cannot in good conscience recommend that game. Shout out to Chase Snyder, who's going to be on the call there. But that game's probably going to be...
It might get a little out of hand.
Well, I'll just say this. So Northbrook, I believe, has not won a district game in And in fact, I think they have the state's longest losing streak. It's probably not coming to an end tonight against Cy Fair. Cy Fair's not...
But it could.
But Cy Fair is not as good as they normally are. They've struggled a little
down.
bit, especially defensively. So that's something to keep an eye on. But tonight, here's what I want you to watch. Obviously, Cedar Ridge and
come party with
Vandegrift
us.
You should be hanging out with us. Come party with us. Also at 7 o'clock, well, you guys should mention, we also work on the assumption you have 3 screens, maximum of 3 screens, TV, computer, phone.
Yes.
On your TV, obviously, you need to get us on the watch along. Then I want you to have Summer Creek and North Shore. Now, Summer Creek's interesting. Summer Creek got off to a fantastic start. I believe what was it? It's a 4-0 start. They're cooking with gas, cooking with grease, cooking with Crisco, looking great. In the past couple of weeks, they played C.E. King and Atascocita, and they've lost. Now, they played Atascocita within a score.
That was a fun game.
They played them very tight. They're taking on North Shore. North Shore is going to be tough, but you can see where they measure up, and you get an opportunity to see a top 10 team in the state in North Shore. I would want you to watch that. If you want a third game, I would probably send you the Hayes and Westlake. Westlake's going to win that game, and it sounds like Kate Klubnik's not going to play. So you can maybe skip that one.
If you want to get eyes on on what they might be working with a new quarterback for the time being,
you can if you're interested in that. I would also say, Spring's probably going to beat Aldine Davis. That would be my pick there. What's the Caney Creek game? How's Caney Creek? Caney Creek's not been great. I don't know. Surf around.
Come party with us.
Come party with us. Just spend all your efforts with that. That's my honest assessment of this. I'm a bad salesman.
Yeah. Well, the other thing is, too, you get your eyes on an Austin team.
Yes,
so.
exactly right. Friday!
Dateline!
First of all, 6 o'clock. Here, how about this? 6 o'clock, you got to go too wide.
Yep.
Okay? Because at 6 o'clock on Texan Live, you're going to be watching Katie Tompkins and Katie Morton Ranch.
Mm-hmm.
And
Coach Folkert's on the
that is an extremely important game in that District 19-6A. Now, I think both of these teams, if I remember correctly, for Morton Ranch, they are now at a point after their loss last week to Seven Lakes. They got to steal one.
Mm-hmm.
This is an opportunity to steal one. But watch that game because Morton Ranch is not going to go quietly. That's a decent Morton Ranch team.
Yeah.
That if Tompkins plays their food, they can absolutely get beat. So keep an eye on that one. Also, CBS Sports Network, Pickle. I know you're going to be locked in on this one. Mm-hmm. It's not true.
I'm going to be out of game.
The Marshall Thundering Herd thunder into Denton to take on your beloved North Texas Mean Green, fresh off of beating the spread against Missouri.
God.
Can they beat the 11-point spread tonight or tomorrow night? Let's find out. I'm just gonna point this out. I know I've been on the record as saying this, and I'll just continue to say it. I hate college football games on Friday night.
I'll tell you what,
the
staff at North Texas is very excited for a Friday night game.
Are you being serious?
Yeah, they get their whole Saturday off.
Oh, okay. That's why. I guess that's true.
They're like, we already got to be at work anyway.
Me, as a consumer of all things football in Texas.
I do too. I can't see it, and then I can't go to the game.
Yeah, I know. Anyway. Then we matriculate a little bit later on Texan Live. I want you 7 o'clock. I think there's a few obvious ones. I want you to go 3 wide, okay? 7 o'clock. It's weird. Keep it on the North Texas game, I guess.
Oh.
You got to be watching Bridgeland Park.
Yes.
Bridgeland Park is, in my opinion, the game of the week on Texan Live, although there's another one that I'm very interested in. So I want you to watch that one. That one is going to be 7 o'clock at Cy-Fair FCU Stadium. That game will be excellent. Keep an eye on that one. We do not know the status of Connor Wigman. He did not play last week. This is a critical game and could be for Division II seeding. Mm-hmm. So, important there. Then, I want you to watch Unbeaten Viter and Little Cypress Mauriceville.
That's a real banger in Southeast Texas.
First of all, you want to talk about we mentioned Eric Peavy and the job he's doing at Little Cypress Mauriceville. I think they've been one of the most surprising teams in the state. Going up against, I think, one of the quietest unbeatens in the state in the Pirates of Viter. Mm-hmm. Keep an eye on this game. I want you to be watching that game. And then that game kicks at 7:30. If you need a third, boy, you got you could do there's a big rivalry game between Temple and Belton. Mm-hmm. Big rivalry game between Temple and Belton. You could also do Richmond, Foster, and Manville. That's obviously a big game. It's crazy we're not talking about that as much as we normally do, but that's a big game. And Texas City and Crosby. Yep. You've got your pick of the litter here. Texan Live's got some bangers. I'll also say that our friends at WFAA.com, if you want to stream that game, they have got Cedar Hill and DeSoto. So that'll be on, I believe, on WFAA.com and on their YouTube page. Mm-hmm. So if you want to stream that game as well. Also 7:30, San Antonio Harlandale and Buda Johnson. Buda Johnson's undefeated, and I think Harlandale could give them a run. So keep an eye on that one.
There is a stream for Windthorst Munster.
There's a stream for Windthorst Munster?
Yeah, let me go back. I'll look. It's in my mentions somewhere.
Okay.
My mentions.
There's a stream for Windthorst Munster. That's the game of the week in any classification. So I want you to stream that one as well. There is no excuse not to go 3 wide and be flipping around and doing a bunch of games on Texan Live and on other streaming services. It's a huge Friday night this week and a really, really big slate. I would absolutely positively, it is mandatory watching that you got to watch Bridgeland Cy Park. I think that's the one I got to make sure you get to. If you want to do another one, it's Little Cypress, Mauriceville, and Viter. If you want to do another one, probably Texas City and Crosby. Although I think Foster and Manville can do it. And if you can find that stream for Cedar Hill DeSoto, or you can find that stream for Windthorst Munster.
It's ccsportstalk.com.
ccsportstalk.com. Yeah, they're up there in Cook County. Mm-hmm. So yeah. Anyway, there's that for Friday. Saturday!
Dateline.
Pickle, let's wake up early.
Yeah.
At 11 stinking a.m., you're going 3 wide.
Yeah.
In fact, you could go 4 wide if you want. 11 a.m. Obviously, you need to watch Oklahoma State and Texas. Can Texas bounce back? Oklahoma State is an undefeated and yet, I think, flawed team. Can Texas expose them? Can they bounce back after last week's really disappointing loss to Oklahoma? Texas A&M's at Mizzou. Is this a letdown game for A&M? It shouldn't be. Mizzou is bad. Said as somebody who
Good teams cover the spread, and you know what Mizzou didn't do? Cover
That's
the
exactly
spread.
right. Great teams cover. They are certainly not great. But Mizzou is not great. I say that as somebody who's spent a significant amount of money at the University of Missouri. Mm-hmm. Not great. A&M shouldn't have a problem with that. But if it gets hairy, that's on SEC Network. 11 a.m. Pickle.
Mm-hmm.
Michael Silvers is waking up early.
Yep.
He's going to be at Katy and Cinco Ranch. Two playoff teams.
Yeah.
2 playoff teams there. And let me make sure. Let me look at this real quick. Now, this won't be. There's no seeding impact because Seven Lakes is going D1 and Katy is almost certainly going D2.
Mm-hmm. And I believe Cinco Ranch is coming off a bye week too, so they got a big win over Maid Creek and then got the bye week, and now they're facing.
No, I
big
lied.
one.
I lied. I'm sorry. They're playing Cinco Ranch. This is for Division 2 seeding. So in a world where Cinco Ranch upsets Katy, they would get the number 1 seed in Division 2, or they'd be in the driver's seats they get it. So keep an eye on this one. Katy and Cinco Ranch, that's at 11 a.m. You also, I think, have a pretty decent game at noon.
Mm-hmm.
If you're into this kind of thing, okay, we actually talked with our coach yesterday.
We did.
Lake Belton is playing Katy Jordan, and you're probably thinking,
who is that?
what? If you want to get an eye on some teams that are joining the UIL ranks next year,
Mm-hmm.
Lake Belton and Katy Jordan are 2 new schools down there in the Houston, or one's in the south or southern Waco area, Super Syntax area, and one of them is obviously in Katy Jordan in the Katy area. If you want to get some eyes on that game's at noon. Interesting. There's also a game at 1 o'clock, Cy Lakes and Langham Creek.
Yeah, we've got an 11, a noon, a 1, a 6, and a 7, all on Texas Live. So you can literally high school football all day on Saturday if you want
really
to.
Can. You really can. So the middle slate's interesting. BYU's at Baylor at 2:30. That's a game that's on ESPN. You need to be watching that game. You also have Texas Tech and Kansas at 3, and you have Troy and Texas State at 2. Both those games are on the plus. Get your wallet out. I don't know if I can get in good conscience. Troy and Texas State's a little bit interesting. Tech should mollywop Kansas. Should.
And if they don't.
Should have done a lot of things.
Oof.
5 o'clock, UTSA hosts Rice. If you just want to watch 2 Texas teams go at it, UTSA's big favorite meet, but I do think that hooting will intensify. Keep an eye on those mighty Owls. 6 o'clock.
I feel bad for anyone just tuning in and hearing that.
Okay, so 6 o'clock. This is going to be interesting. We're going to get really exotic at 6 o'clock.
Okay.
6 o'clock, I'm assuming you're going to wipe it clean. You're going to be able to do different games, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to give you 3 games to watch. One high school, 1 FBS,
okay.
1 Division 2.
Ooh, okay.
On the big screen, I want you to be watching C.E. King and Atascocita.
Mm-hmm.
C.E. King's undefeated. Atascocita's got that 1 loss, but they're state ranked. They're 1 loss at Denton Geyer. I think this game is going to be fabulous. Really, really a really important game there. C.E. King and Atascocita. Keep an eye on that one, 6 o'clock. Then, second screen, I want you to be watching TCU and Oklahoma. Can TCU go to Norman and catch them on a letdown? Can they run the ball? A lot of questions there with TCU going on the road to Oklahoma. That game's on ABC. Then, on your phone, I want you to dial up the LSC network, and I want you to watch UT Permian Basin and Angelo State, 6 o'clock Saturday.
The mullet.
Out there in San Angelo. A big game for UT Permian Basin, kind of a prove-it game in a lot of ways for them. Really interested in that one. So I'm going to go 3 wide. You also have 8 o'clock. The UTEP Miners are going to become bowl eligible when they beat Louisiana Tech at 8 o'clock on ESPN. That's right.
Here are the bowling pins.
Picks up. That's right. There is your Buck Groove Guide. We're Texas Football Today. We're here every weekday at noon on TexasFootball.com, talking football in the Lone Star State. You can follow us on Twitter at DCTF. Like us on Facebook, Facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, Instagram.com/Dave Campbell's. And, of course, see us at TexasFootball.com. Pickle. Dave Campbell's Texas Football has partnered with the North Texas Honda dealers to honor community helpers from across North Texas. Texas is fortunate to have so many great individuals that give back to their community in so many different ways. Thanks to the support of the helpful North Texas Honda dealers, we have the opportunity to shine a light on a few very deserving individuals, including Kim Noble. She's a photographer over there at Denton Geyer High School. Thank you for being helpful in your community, and thank you to the North Texas Honda dealers for partnering with Dave Campbell's Texas Football as part of the helpful North Texas Honda dealers Community Helpers Program. We appreciate you, North Texas Honda dealers, and we appreciate you, Kim Noble at Denton Geyer. We're Texas Football Today. Remember, tonight we've got the watch-along coming up here at 7 o'clock, Vandergrift and Cedar Ridge. You can watch the game live with myself, Pickle, Ishmael Johnson, South Lake Carroll coach Riley Dodge, as well as Western Mesquite coach Frank Sandoval. So you do not want to miss that. Pickle, let's go to the hotline. And let's bring in the head coach of the 6-0 Abernathy Antelopes. We are joined by Coach Justin Wiley. Coach, how are you?
Good. How are you doing today?
I'm doing excellent. How are things in beautiful Abernathy, Texas?
Oh, that's awesome, man. We got sunny skies and a little breeze.
Well, not much to complain about then.
No.
Let me ask you about your team so far. This is a team that I think we had some high hopes for, a team that we thought had an opportunity to make some noise. So far, so good. 6-0, really going out there and taking care of the business that you need to. Is this where you saw your team being entering Week 8?
I thought that we would be. Yeah, we had an opportunity to be here. If we could, stay healthy and understand systems and schemes and all those type of things. And I thought that we had the type of kids that could be at this point in the schedule.
You're there in your second year there as the head coach there at Abernathy. Obviously, you took over last year. Last year was certainly different. What would you say maybe is the biggest difference from last year to this year?
I think that if you look across the state, I think anybody that was new, in the spring of, I don't even forget what year that is, that we went into the pandemic, went into quarantine. My first day on the job here was the first day of quarantine. And so it was really difficult to get things started, so it's a transition in leadership, and you don't really get to start, instead of starting, in March, you really don't get to start till the first Monday in August. And I think and across the state, I think anybody you look at that transition leadership and at that point, they struggled maybe more than teams that were, coaching staffs that had been in place and programs that had been in place for multiple years. And I think that was just, a big part of what we were doing. And we also transitioned from Coach Daly, being in charge of this athletic program for 11 years and his son Bryson being our quarterback for 4 years, so not only was there a new head coach, there was a new, kid on the field running the system, and I had a few new coaches, and it took a while. And I think as the year went on, we got better and better, but I think, having everybody in place coming into year 2 certainly made things easier.
You mentioned you took over for Darryl Daly, who 33 years in coaching. He was there for 11 years at Abernathy. You were his defensive coordinator. And you were there at a program that, let's be honest, it didn't need a whole lot of fixing. It's not like there were all these things. This wasn't a rebuild. How do you go about?
No, certainly not a rebuild.
Oh yeah, but how do you go about putting your stamp on a program while still going through and making keeping the train on the track, so to speak?
And one of the things that I really enjoyed working with Coach Daly. He was just probably, of all the people that I've worked with, it was the easiest for me to be an assistant for him. We thought a lot alike, and I'd been fortunate to be a head coach at a couple of other programs, and so I'd had some experience doing that. And so I think that we played off of one another's strengths, and so there's certainly one thing, but anytime you change, I think there's just there's a couple of things that I would do different, and really and he probably would have too, because it's based on personnel. The kids, in a small school like us, you have to adapt your schemes year by year, and we had to transition from, Bryson was such a tough physical runner, had a pretty good arm. So we, everything that we did for 4 years was based around, what his strengths were. And, so that's, and those aren't necessarily our current quarterback's strengths. I think he probably has a little more accuracy, a little better arm. And so, we transitioned to throw, and we don't have we have pretty good receivers right now too. So we, transitioned to more of a passing spread offense.
Talking with Justin Wiley, the head coach of the Abernathy Antelopes here on Texas Football Today. Get involved in the conversation, #TF Today. All right, Coach, you are you're a defensive guy. and so far so good for your defense, giving up right around 14 points per game. You guys beat Reagan County last week and give up 18 points, a lot of those in window dressing time. I'm interested in how you would assess how your defense has played through the first 7 weeks of the year.
Yeah, I thought we played pretty well. Most years, or every year that I've been here, we've been very senior heavy. We run a 5-3 defense. We have 5 linebackers on the field, and usually those 5 linebackers are traditionally, at least 4 of them are always seniors. And so I kind of graduate a group of linebackers every year. But I have another group that moves into it. Well, this year we're a lot younger. I have a sophomore and a couple juniors and then a couple seniors that play linebacker. So I think the first few games, it was really getting those guys adjusted to the style of play and making sure that they're ready for Friday night competition. Most of those guys came right off the JV from last year and had to transition to varsity. The first rattle out of the box, you draw Shallow Water, who's that's a school. They're twice as big as we are, and so they started off really well, but it's really been a learning process throughout the year. Reading your keys, learning what your role is on the field, and they've done a great job transitioning into that this year and continue to get better.
On the offensive side, it's hard to talk about your offense without talking about your signal caller, Jess Hole. This guy's been he's been outstanding. A big group of receivers out there as well. I can look at the numbers and I can look at the tape and I can tell you that Jess Hole is pretty darn good quarterback. As the guy who gets to work with him every day in practice, what is it about him that sets him apart?
Yeah, his competitiveness. He's one of the most competitive kids that I've been around. He's a lot like Bryson Daly in that aspect. He's a kid that wants to win. And he's put in the work. He's one of those guys that when the season ended last year, I can't remember unless he had a track meet or a baseball game that day. He never missed an extra workout in the weight room all spring, all summer. Took some time on his own to work with some private coaches and stuff, and along with working with our coaching staff on things that he can improve. He's committed to being the best that he can be for his team, and I think it shows. He's a lot more patient this year with his reads, and doesn't quite, the first read isn't there, doesn't just tuck the ball and take off running. He's working through the system. He understands it better, and so I think he's done a tremendous job so far.
Well, let's talk about what's going down 7:30 p.m. tomorrow night there in beautiful Hale County at Abernathy at Antelope Stadium, as you guys will host unbeaten Idalou, one of only 4 matchups of unbeatens in the UIL ranks in the state of Texas this week. Idalou's pretty good, Coach. I don't know if you've noticed. I'm not going to ask you to give away your game plan here on the air, but when you take a look at what you're up against tomorrow night, what are going to be the keys for you guys?
I think it's just anytime we've played Idalou for the last 4 years, and anytime that this game comes around, of course, our towns are only about 20 miles apart. Everyone, we play them in every sport, so our kids know every one of theirs. All their kids know ours. They're all connected on social media, so between those guys, I'm sure they've got this thing pretty hyped up. But anytime you play Idalou, because of the style of offense they run, they're 2 tight ends, straight eye. They're going to run and pound the ball at you. So you got to win the line of scrimmage. I think that's the number one thing that it comes down to is, can you establish yourself on the line of scrimmage, and then can you limit your turnovers? Because they're gonna run a lot of clock time off because of the style of offense that they run. So you can't have turnovers and just let them eat up a lot of clock on you. So I think those are probably the 2 most important factors. Win the line of scrimmage and control your turnovers.
He's Justin Wiley. He's the head coach of those Abernathy Antelopes. They've got a big game tomorrow night hosting Idalou, and excited to see what they do. Coach, really appreciate your time. Congratulations again on the fantastic start, and go get them tomorrow night.
Thank you. We appreciate the call.
There he goes, Justin Wiley, the head coach of the Abernathy Antelopes, join us here on Texas Football Today. And it's interesting the way he kind of alluded to it, how they've kind of changed the offense a little bit. So Bryson Daly was the 4-year starter there, Coach Darrell Daly's son, 4-year starter there. And they ran the ball a lot. They ran the ball really, really effectively. Let me just put it this way. Do you know where Bryson Daly is right now? Mm-mm. He's playing for Army. So
running.
They run the ball pretty well. They ask their quarterbacks to run a fair amount, right? he has now, you want to talk about adjusting I don't want to say adjusting your scheme to your personnel, but that's certainly what they've done. They've got a great quarterback in Jess Hull, who has been really solid, taking care of the football, big arm back there, a big wide receiver core, and they're like, all right, let's throw the ball a little bit more. And so now they're probably, whereas under Darryl Daly, they may have been a little bit more, let's call it 65% run, right? They threw the ball a fair amount, but let's call it 65% run. Now they're probably a little bit more 50-50, maybe even a little bit more, 60-40 pass. So it's interesting, and it's going to be an interesting matchup tomorrow against Idalou. Idalou is a team that's going to grind it on the ground. Mm-hmm. They got great defense. They want to win old school. Jeff Lofton wants to play old school football. It'll be very, very intriguing to see that final score roll in. Idalou and Abernathy should be a fun one there at Antelope Stadium. We appreciate Justin Wiley's time today. We are Texas Football Today. We're here every weekday at noon on TexasFootball.com. Talking football in the Lone Star State. You can follow us on Twitter at DCTF, like us on Facebook.com/Dave Campbell's.
Don't make Zuck mad before we have to go on again today for the watch along. That's the last thing we need.
Tune in for the watch along tonight. On Facebook, Instagram, all that fun stuff. You've heard me do this spiel before. Follow us on social.
They know.
Yeah, you know at this point. We should just get a graphic of it so I don't have to read it every time. Pickle. It's week 8. The Texas high school football season kicks off in just a few hours. Big games everywhere you look. There's only one man.
Oh, Lord.
There's only one man who has the courage to go out there and predict all these games. That's not true at all. All those things are wrong. There are many people who do a lot of predictions. Here are my predictions for week 8 of the Texas high school football season on Texas Football Today.
We're officially in the back half of the Texas high school football season, and things are only heating up. These are the picks. Welcome into the Picks, your guide to Texas high school football weekend. My name is Greg Tepper of Dave Campbell's Texas Football and TexasFootball.com. Thank you so much for tuning in. And after a wild week 7 that gave us a little bit of clarity as to how these district races are going to go and maybe which teams have taken the pole position in those districts, we are now moving into week 8 where there are massive games everywhere, including state-ranked clashes, de facto district championship games, and undefeated matchups on the line. In fact, that's where we start. We start in Cook County. 7 o'clock Friday night at Hornet Stadium in Munster. It's a state-ranked matchup of unbeatens in 2A as the Windthorst Trojans take on the Munster Hornets. What are the keys to this matchup? Key number 1, something's got to give, because both of these defenses have been absolutely outrageous, and at some point, I guess, theoretically, someone's got to score in this game. Munster is allowing fewer than 12 points per game, thanks in large part to their big defensive front led by Tommy Lutmer. On the other side, for Windthorst, of course, they won a state championship last year based on the strength of their defense, and they're at it again, allowing just 7 points per game behind Hunter Herndon. Now, it's not to say that these offenses are anything to turn your nose up at. In fact, both offenses, I think, have been really good. Windthorst's new quarterback, Logan Cope, has been excellent, and I think the running game from Munster with Colton Deckard is really, really difficult to stop. But this is a matchup of two of the premier defenses in 2A Division II. So, on Friday night, with two great defenses on the field, what gives? Key number 2, Windthorst's defensive line against Munster's offensive line. So let's zoom in a little bit on one of the key matchups here in this game. Windthorst's defense from defensive coordinator Juan Cavazos starts up front, and they have been fantastic up front with guys like Eddie Lamas and Jalen Friddle. This defense has been great. They've got 57 tackles for loss and 15 sacks to start the season. They're now going up against a big physical Munster offensive line led by Daniel Fernandez that is averaging more than 8 yards per carry and is keeping their quarterback clean. That's where the game, I think, is going to be really won or lost, is whether the Munster offensive line can hold up against this Windthorst defensive front. This is a true strength-on-strength matchup. So when they get on the field, who wins out? And key number 3, do you empty the bag? So a great coaching matchup in this one, right? Brady Carney for Munster, Chris Tackett for Windthorst, both state champion head coaches. And there's an extra wrinkle here that I think is going to make this interesting. You see, last year, Windthorst played Munster twice. They beat them twice. They beat them in district play, and then they beat them again in the regional final en route to their 2A Division II state championship. And I think there's a fair chance that they meet twice again, right? I think, all due respect to Albany and a few other teams, they're in Region 2, but I look at this and think, okay, Windthorst and Munster may in fact be the two teams to beat in Region 2. That sets up an interesting chess match, right? Do you show everything you have, knowing full well that you may see this team again. Obviously, you want to win this game. Everyone wants to go out there and win a district championship. I'm not certainly suggesting they hold back. What I am saying is, are you going to throw everything you've got at them in what may be the first of 2 meetings? So, what manifests itself in the coaching matchup here? Who am I picking? I'm going with Munster. The Hornets get the nod here for a couple of reasons. Most notably, I think it's the offensive balance that they've got. Okay, Colton Deckard, their running back, is already over 1,000 yards on the year, but I also think that quarterback Devin Bindle has really grown into the role, a star in the making there in Munster. They're going to need all those pieces firing against what is one of the very best defenses in the state at any level in Windthorst. They have been absolutely suffocating. And so in a low-scoring slugfest like this, I think Munster may be able to hit 1 or 2 extra plays. Look, this is the game of the week at any level in the state. I don't know that I've been more excited about a game yet this season. I think this game's going to be close. It's going to be really fun to watch. But I think the Hornets come away with a win. 7 o'clock Friday night at David Kirkendall Stadium in Frisco. It's a big-time 5A matchup between the unbeaten Frisco Raccoons and the Denison Yellow Jackets. If you like running games, you're going to love this game because you've got 2 of the best running games in all of 5A going at it. Denison running back Jajarian Price has been as advertised, an absolute dynamo out of the backfield. The Notre Dame commit is a big reason why the Yellow Jackets are 5-1. On the other side, for Frisco, they run the wing T, and they run it really well. With Jordan Hamilton and Bradford Martin, they are grinding teams into dust. And so this is going to come down to defenses, and most specifically turnovers. And that's where I think Frisco is going to have an edge. This has been a playmaking defense. I think they're going to come up with a couple of stops to get their offense back onto the field, and they're going to grind it out. I think this game's a lot of fun, but I give the Raccoons an edge. Let's go to 3A, 7:30 p.m. Friday night at Cardinal Field in Columbus. It's a big-time showdown between the Columbus Cardinals and the Yoakum Bulldogs. Hey, no notes for the Columbus offense. They have been fantastic. You're never going to believe this, but they have a Schobel at quarterback. Yeah, quarterback Adam Schobel has been great. And the Jay Johnson, their running back, has been excellent. That's a big test for this Yoakum defense, which has been mostly good, led by Trace Moore. Okay, but the other side is where I think Yoakum's got a pretty big advantage. Jaden Jones, the running back for Yoakum, has been very good grinding it out on the ground. They've got good balance to the offense, going up against a Columbus defense that has been susceptible to the big play. And so Columbus is going to have to play their best defensive game yet to get this big district win. But for now, I think Bo Robinson's Bulldogs are for real. Maybe flying under people's radar, but you need to be paying attention to them. I think Yoakum gets the win. 6 o'clock Saturday at Turner Stadium in Humble. It's a big-time showdown in the Houston area as Atascocita takes on C.E. King. C.E. King is undefeated, and they have been absolutely explosive with DeCorian Hammond and Jarrell Wembley. I think this kid's awesome. Jarrell, go watch some highlights if you haven't of this kid. He is fantastic. They're about to get their biggest test yet in their undefeated run because Atascocita is not only great, but they are battle-tested. Guys like Gavin Session, guys like Keith Wheeler, guys like Chase Sowell. I mean, they have got playmakers all over the field, especially on the defensive side, too, with defensive end Micah Tate. The question here for King is kind of going to be the question against all of Atascocita's opponents for the rest of the year because their big offensive line led by Cam Dewberry. Can King get pressure without sending extra blitzers? Because Gavin Session is good enough to step up into pressure and fire if you are having to send guys from the secondary. This is a key component in this game. Can King get pressure without having to send extra guys? For now, I think Atascocita gets the win, but keep an eye on this one. Let's go to the Coastal Bend, 7:30 p.m. Friday night at Wildcat Stadium in Corpus Christi as the Cal Allen Wildcats welcome in the Miller Buccaneers. And this is a classic strength-on-strength and weakness-on-weakness matchup. Let's start with the strength-on-strength, right? Miller's offense, whoa. Jaden Brown, the new sophomore quarterback, has stepped into the shoes left by Andrew Body seamlessly. Lonnie Atkinson is doing that thing again where he's like one of the best receivers in the state. But they're going up against a Cal Allen defense that's been very strong, right? Colton Calloway leads a traditionally strong Wildcats defense. So let's go to the other side, where I think it's a bit of a weakness on weakness. The Cal Allen offense has only been okay, right? They're not that kind of explosive running game that we've seen in past years, although Epi Hinojosa, their running back, has been pretty darn strong. But they haven't put up those big numbers that we've come to expect from the Wildcats. But they're going up against a Miller defense that, well, plain and simple, they got run over by La Vega and they got torched by Corpus Christi Veterans Memorial, right? Now, those are two really good teams, but that is definitely the weaker side of the team for Miller. So, who is able to shore up their weakness a little bit better in this game? That's where I think the edge is going to be had. In the end, I give Cal Allen the edge because they're at home, and I think they're going to be able to get a couple of more stops. Give me the Wildcats. And 7 o'clock Friday night at C.H. Collins Stadium in Denton. It is a 6A showdown between the Allen Eagles and the Denton Geyer Wildcats. It's the District 5 6A matchup we've been waiting for. Chad Morris's offense at Allen is looking pretty good, right? Jalen Jenkins, the running back, has been on another planet lately. Quarterback Mike Hawkins growing into the role. No notes for the Allen offense, but I have some pretty major concerns about their defense. And going up against a Geyer attack led by Jackson Arnold with a big-time wide receiver core led by Grayson Ibarra, I think that may be a bit of a problem for this Allen defense. Furthermore, while Geyer's defense has faced big offenses like this, and they've beaten them, right? Go back to Atascocita. In a lot of ways, Allen profiles pretty well with Atascocita. Big offensive line, a lot of different playmakers on the offense, and yet Geyer was able to get past that Eagles team. I think this plays out a lot in the same way. I think that this game is close into the fourth quarter, but in the end, Geyer gets a couple of defensive stops to pull away. I think the Wildcats come away with a win. But those are far from the only big games in Week 8 of the Texas high school football season. Let's get to the lightning round. I like Bushland over Amarillo River Road. Give me Colleyville Heritage to take down district rival Mansfield Summit. And Jim Ned keeps rolling with a win over Wall. I like Side Park to beat Bridgeland in a pointsy affair. Give me El Paso Andrus to beat El Paso Burgess. And oh, hey, it's DeSoto and Cedar Hill. I like the Eagles in this one. It's the Battle of the Arroyo. I like Harlingen over San Benito. Give me Little Cypress Mauriceville to keep it rolling with a win over Viter. And A&M Consolidated takes down previously unbeaten Montgomery. I like Midland Greenwood over Sweetwater. Sherilyn beats Pioneer in a crosstown showdown in the Valley. And Aledo gets their 100th consecutive district win. They beat Timberview. I like Rawls over Roscoe. Give me Sonora to take down Brady. And Austin LBJ stays perfect with a win over Fredericksburg. Wichita Falls Rider beats Lubbock Cooper. Austin Vandegrift beats Round Rock Cedar Ridge in a game you can watch on TexanLive.com. And in a battle of unbeatens out west, I like Childress over Friona. Forsan beats Anson. Idalou takes down Abernathy in a matchup of unbeatens. And I'm going with Lovelady over West Sabine. I like Magnolia over Magnolia West in a crosstown rivalry. I'm going with New Braunfels to take down San Antonio Wagner. And San Antonio Johnson keeps rolling. They beat San Antonio Madison. San Diego over Lifer. Toller takes down Hamilton, and Amarillo bounces back with a win over Lubbock Coronado. Give me El Paso Eastwood over El Paso Eastlake. I'm going with Falls City over Louise, and Frisco Lone Star takes down Frisco Wakeland. Garrison over Shelbyville. Holiday beats Callisburg, and I like Kilgore over Chapel Hill. I like Mason over unbeaten Harper. Give me McCamey to take down Wink in what really may be a fun matchup. And I think West keeps rolling with a win over Whitney. West Orange Stark beats Orangefield. Wichita Falls Hershey takes down Springtown. In our six-man game of the week, it's cross-county rivalry. I like Richland Springs over Cherokee. And those are the picks. What am I wrong about? Which games did I leave out? Leave comments down below. Don't forget that subscribe button. Follow us on Twitter at DCTF. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/DaveCampbells. Follow us on Instagram, instagram.com/DaveCampbells. And of course, see us at TexasFootball.com. Thanks for watching. Enjoy Week 8 of the Texas high school football season. We'll see you. There it is, the picks, my high school football predictions for Week 8 of the Texas high school football season. I got at least one of those right. One thing I noticed is that when I do the picks and I point to the, I point down here, like everyone gets like a real good view of my part on my hair. Just like, oh, yeah, right there. Anyway, there it is, the picks, my high school football predictions. You can find that on YouTube. Something funny, Pickle?
Yeah, that one's just random.
I just noticed it. I was like, man, it looks like somebody took
We never addressed the guy tweet of your graying hair.
Okay.
Air.
Yes, my hair's.
Wow, you just put it on the spot there. Jeez.
Would you like me to address it?
No, go ahead.
I'm going gray on the sides.
Man,
I'm an old man. I don't.
Just threw you there. Just like
That's
topic
literal
diversion.
my sole job
for
here.
somebody who is gonna have to spend 3.5 hours on the air with us tonight. She certainly is getting very bold. We're joined by Ishmael Johnson, the managing editor. First of all, the managing editor of Dave Campbell's Texas Basketball. Congratulations on sending it to press.
Thank you. Yeah.
If you haven't seen the cover, by the way, listen to Texas 24. You guys talk through the cover.
We're releasing a bunch of previews coming up, and we're hinting on the cover in one of those episodes.
So the cover has been revealed.
Yes.
Tell people about the cover.
Yeah, Andrew Jones from Texas. Was a really good experience to meet him in Austin last month, I guess, technically. And he was really stoked about it. It's a really cool opportunity. His story is obviously resonating with a lot of people, obviously battling leukemia, beating it. And I think when I met up with him in September, he had just talked about how he was over 200 for the first time
amazing.
200 pounds since he'd beaten
Wow.
leukemia. So yeah,
It's
really
yeah.
cool.
You talk about like a special story,
Yeah.
like a unique opportunity to put a special story on the cover.
Yeah.
I thought that was really cool. I just think it's a super striking image too. I don't know.
No, it's a great. I love it.
You
I
ran
love
it by me, and I was like, that's awesome.
Yeah,
it was cool.
So I'm
Anyway,
excited for
so Dave Campbell's Texas basketball coming soon. We're here to talk about Dave Campbell's Texas football, though we don't own the football. We're just going to talk about some games in college football with some burning questions for Week 7 of the college football season. Where are we starting, Pickle?
Up first, how about we start tomorrow night as Marshall travels down to Denton to take on North Texas 6 p.m. on Friday. Do you buy that the Mean Green offense has figured itself out?
I don't know why we would think that. I'm trying to figure out, do I buy? I was like, I've never bought it, so no.
So it's one of the
You can't
things that,
return
like,
something that you
they-
never bought.
Exactly.
Because the numbers recently offensively have been like okay.
Sure.
But the thing for me is, I think a lot of this is window dressing numbers. A lot of these are garbage.
It's
time
garbage
numbers.
time.
Because it goes back to the same thing that we've talked about week in and week out with North Texas, which is they fall behind huge so early and they have to chase, and so they're facing a lot of cover 3 defenses that are just like, sure, you want to take a 7-yard gain, fine,
Right.
like as long as we're killing time. I think the offense is better than it was maybe at times this year. But I also just don't think that it's like, I think it's one of those things that the numbers are a bit deceiving where, yeah, they put up 30-something points against Missouri last week, but that's
Right.
because Missouri was taking their foot off the gas because they were up 31-7 at halftime.
Right, it was like 21 points in the fourth quarter, I think,
Yeah.
for North Texas. And they're good at running the ball, but I don't know, they're not great at it. I think they average just under 5 yards a carry, which, of course you have Trey Siggers, of course, sure, why not? But I don't know.
I think
not
it's, I don't, yeah.
I'm not impressed with what they're.
No.
I don't know. Marshall does everything better than them
Yeah.
in offense. I don't think either team's great, but what North Texas is kind of good at, they're already pretty great at.
I think it's pretty telling. I don't know. This is I don't put a ton of stock into betting lines. We'll get to another thing that I think.
Also, did I say Siggers? I meant Torrey.
Yeah,
Okay,
DeAndre
yeah,
Torrey.
sorry.
But they were, this is an average Marshall team, right?
Right.
I think it's fair to say they're average, and they are 11-point favorites on the road. That's telling, and I think the clock is ticking for Seth Luttrell, unfortunately. What's next, Pickle?
Up next, let's go with why is Texas about a touchdown favorite over an unbeaten OSU team? That game happening 11 a.m. on Saturday.
I think I'll answer this, and that's because I think this is I think this is an Oklahoma State team that, yes, they're undefeated. They got a good win over Baylor, and you play the teams that are put in front of you. But I also think this may be a team that's on borrowed time.
Sure.
And I think Vegas kind of sniffs that out. They are a team that I think Spencer Sanders as a passer has, I don't know if he's regressed, but he certainly hasn't grown, I don't think.
Right.
They're really relying on running the ball. They do it pretty well. And obviously Texas was not great at stopping the run last week against Oklahoma.
Yeah.
This is a really intriguing matchup. I think that, I think Vegas obviously likes Texas and likes what they do and thinks that they're a little bit more battle tested. They probably do have, I guess Oklahoma State has the win over Baylor. That's probably their most impressive win of the year. I don't know. The thing about Oklahoma State though is that their defense is pretty good.
It's really
pretty
good.
darn good. It's gonna test Texas in a way that they probably haven't been tested since Arkansas, as far as
Probably.
defensive intensity is concerned.
Probably.
But I also think that this is more about what Oklahoma State and some doubts that people have about Oklahoma State than it is about Texas.
Yeah, I think that Oklahoma State's defensive line and their front seven is really good. I think that's where they're going to win this game. It's a strength on strength matchup. I think that where the difference comes for me is I think this offense for Oklahoma State is very combustible. Against Texas, you can control the line of scrimmage. I believe you can attack that secondary. I think they can also capitalize on mistakes, as we saw in the first half against Oklahoma. I think Oklahoma State is very vulnerable to that. Spencer Sanders is somebody who we know is capable of 2 to 3 interceptions in a game.
They turn the ball over a lot.
They turned the ball over a lot. They shouldn't have won that. They shouldn't have won that Baylor
No.
game. I think Spencer Sanders had three interceptions in that game. If they do that against Texas, a better offense, I think they can win, and I think that's where this line comes in. I wouldn't be shocked if this is the week that they finally stumble.
Yeah, I think so. What's next, Pickle?
Up next, let's go with number 21 Texas A&M taking on Missouri, 11 a.m. on Saturday. Is Zach Calzada's big game last week against Alabama a flash in the pan, or is it the new normal?
I think the game plan should be the new normal.
Yeah.
Because that was a game plan where I don't know if you read Travis Brown's article from Bryan College Station Eagle, where he talked about the play calling for Jimbo Fisher up until last week hadn't been different from when Kellen Mond was there. They passed about 59% with Kellen Mond. They were passing about 58% with Zach Calzada. That's not how you win those games. Last week, they basically had a 50-50 split, and even if you took 7 of the passes that he threw, they went to Devon Chan and Isaiah Spiller. So basically, they had the running backs going for over 50% of the play calling.
Those short passes
Yes.
that spread coaches will tell you they kind of take the place of running game.
100%. And so that's the play. That's it right there. And then he can hit Anaya Smith. He can hit Jalen Weidemeyer across the middle, and it can show off a little bit more of that arm. And he took a big hit, of course, that almost knocked him out of the game on that touchdown to Anaya Smith. But it's that arm and that kind of courage that he has. That's his strength. That's the game plan. Like, it's not that it was thrown for 40 times and all over the field. They balanced it for him, and I think that's the game plan that they have to do.
So here's the issue with declaring whether or not Zach Calzada is the new normal or flash in the pan. We're not going to find out much about this week.
Not this week.
Missouri's defense is butt.
Yes.
Guys. It's real bad. As somebody who's watched a lot of Missouri football, let me tell you, it's very bad. And so he could put up some gaudy numbers against them, and it may not mean a whole lot. This is probably the worst defense that they've faced since when they played New Mexico.
Right.
And he looked. I remember coming out of the New Mexico game and being like, oh, well, look, he put some nice numbers. But then you kind of dig in and you're like, oh, this maybe isn't what we thought it was. This could be a situation like that. We just won't know until he faces teams that are in his weight class. Right now, even on the road, Mizzou is not in A&M's weight class, and so I don't foresee this necessarily being particularly telling about Zach Calzada. But listen, he now gets a statue built for him in College Station. So good for him. What's next, Pickle?
Up next, we've got the Troy Trojans taking on Texas State 2 p.m. on Saturday. Troy favored by 7.5 on the road. Make a play on the over/under 48.
Under.
Way under.
Way under. Okay.
Way under.
Because here's the thing about this game, and I was so interested to talk about this because I think that in a lot of respects, this is going to sound extremely insulting. Texas State is like a poor man's Troy.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, because Texas State's defense, I think, is okay. I think it's at least a strength of the team. The defense is
Probably.
it's better than the offense.
Not their down defense, definitely.
Right,
They can't
right.
get off the field. But
their offense is better than their offense. And same way with Troy.
Yeah.
Troy has forgotten how to move the ball.
Yeah.
But their defense is keeping them in games, and their defense is pretty good.
Their defense definitely. Take the big under. This is not going to be a good offensive game. But the difference is Troy's pass rush is going to get there. Troy, I believe, is number 1 in sack rate, number 1 in sack percentage. I think they average about 5 a game. And so Brady McBride's already somebody who probably holds on to the ball a little too much. Probably the pass protection is not great for him. And so I think there's a little bit of hearing footsteps. And so he might roll himself into sacks. It's a bad recipe. I think this is a week where it's just an ugly, ugly game. I wouldn't be shocked if this is a 21-10, 17-7 type game. And take the way under.
Yeah, I saw the over under 48, and basically what the assumed line, I guess, would be, they're thinking like what 28, 24 around then, something like 28, 20.
Right.
It's like. No, I don't see either of them really.
It's like they looked at like Jake Spavital and they looked at Troy and it's like, oh, offense.
Yeah.
And it's like
48.
No, not this.
No.
48, which is crazy because 48 is not that high. 48 is not a
it's
big
not.
number. All right, what's next, Pickle?
Up next, let's dial back to last week for a second. Baylor took down West Virginia 45-20. So with what happened last week to Baylor's offense, is that sustainable against number 19 BYU at 2:30 p.m. on Saturday?
Yeah, a Big 12 opener for BYU. And they come to Waco.
Yeah.
I'm going to sound like a broken record when I talk about Baylor. When the offensive line plays well and they operate the scheme that Jeff Grimes wants to operate, the offense is pretty good.
Yeah.
When they don't and they get bullied up front, they look bad. That's what happened against Oklahoma State. They got bullied up front, and they couldn't open up creases for that kind of wide zone offense. They instead were now, last week against West Virginia, they won up front, and they protected Gary Bohannon, who I thought had his best game as a Baylor player, and it all worked. Is that sustainable? I mean, we'll find out against BYU. BYU is, I think, overcooked at 19. I don't think they're the 19th best team in the country.
Yeah, me neither.
honestly, this would be one of those things that if you flip the rankings, I'd kind of believe it. I'd be like, if you want to say Baylor, I don't know if they're a top 20 team, but
Sure.
if you want to say they're a top 30 team, I'd believe it. I think Baylor can win this game if they win up front, plain and simple. That's the name of the game here.
Right. I think that, I don't know, I'm a believer in the Baylor offense because I think they've only stumbled that one game. It was against a very good Oklahoma State defense. Other than that, they have put up the numbers. Their offensive line has been
After
consistent.
week 1, because Texas State
Sure, fair
challenged
enough,
them too.
fair enough, sure. After that week 1 blunder, and again, week 1s are always weird. And so I think I'm buying into this. I agree with you. I don't think BYU is great. I think that they did lose a lot, so I think it is impressive what they're doing this year so far. But their best wins are Utah, which, of course, Charlie Brewer was still starting quarterback, and that offense was not good at the time.
Speaking of Baylor.
And speaking of Baylor. And then Arizona State, which I don't know how good Arizona State is.
They're
either.
weird.
So they're ranked, but I don't know how much that really weighs. And so those are their 2 best wins, an offense that got better immediately after playing BYU, and then Arizona State. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's a real kind of litmus test for Baylor. If they are what we think they could be,
Sure.
they should win this game
Yeah.
and probably by about a touchdown, like Vegas thinks. If they're not, they could absolutely lose this game because BYU's defense can challenge you in a couple of ways. It'll be very interesting in this one. I'm excited about this one on ESPN.
This is where Mike Craven's going to be.
There you go. What's next, Pickle?
Up next, let's head over to Texas Tech taking on an awful Kansas team in Lawrence, 3 p.m. on Saturday. It's no surprise here. Matt Wells is on the hot seat.
Yeah.
Is there anything he can do on Saturday to change that?
I mean, it could make it worse, I guess.
This is a One Direction.
You could
type.
go up in
right,
flames.
right. It's like you're either on the hot seat or you're boiling. Like
Yes.
it doesn't get
You're
cooler if
scalding.
you beat Kansas. Congratulations. Like, I don't know. Like, if you struggle, then it's like, oh, hello.
If they go out there, because I was thinking about this. Obviously, look, if he loses to Kansas, they may just leave him in Lawrence. You know what I
Sure,
mean? If
sure.
they lose if they lose a ding dong game to Kansas, then they may just leave him in Lawrence.
Yes.
I
I'll make
was-
that call. He's gone.
I was
If they
thinking-
lose to Kansas, he's gone.
Yes,
I think that's-
walking off the
he
field.
He signs his own death warrant there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I was thinking, like, what if Tech beats him like 66-7? Like, I'm thinking like a vintage Mike Leach just butt kicking that he used to put on some of the worst teams in the Big 12. What if they do that? What if it all comes together? I don't think it necessarily changes things, but it at least when's their bye week? Or do they already
no
have
idea.
it? Because
It might secure him through the rest of the
maybe
season,
that
I
buys
would
him the rest
say.
of the year.
Maybe. I mean, like I don't know. We're
dealing
if
with
they-
extremes here.
If they score 70 on Kansas, like it's, I don't know. They're still 2 weeks removed from getting 70'd by Texas.
Yeah.
And 52 from TCU.
Yeah.
And it's like if they have one. Basically, they have one more prove it game against Baylor.
Yeah.
And if they get smoked by Baylor, that's they're Texas, Baylor, TCU. You lose, you get smoked by all 3 of those
Your
teams.
in-state teams.
Yeah,
The
you're
teams
done.
you're theoretically recruiting against.
Yeah, exactly. So it doesn't matter if they blow out Kansas. It could be 80-0. I think it doesn't matter.
I think you're right, but I think we all agree that if they lose to Kansas,
No, it's done. It's
he can just look for rentals. Right. What's next, Pickle?
Up next, a Conference USA matchup between your Rice Owls and UTSA. Spread at 18.5 there on Saturday. Is there suddenly reason for concern against UTSA's defense? For UTSA's defense, rather.
No, not this week.
Yeah, not this week. I think that's fair to say.
Yeah.
This is a UTSA defense, I think last week against Western Kentucky. I think that's where a lot of this stems from, is because they got torched by Western Kentucky. Right. But here's the thing about Western Kentucky. They're doing that to everybody.
Yeah.
They are absolutely smoking everybody, and they're with UTSA's deep, or rather with that Bailey Zappi and the whole Houston Baptist offense that they brought over.
Yes.
And, look, the week before against a bad UNLV team, they did, didn't look awesome.
Right.
I don't think it'll be a problem this week against Rice. We're thinking big picture here.
Yeah.
Maybe if they have to run into like a UAB, but I also don't know how many high-powered offenses are on Conference USA.
Yeah, no, not this year specifically. I think when you look at Rice, it's a nice change. It's going to be a nice change of pace for UTSA, right? They go against a Western Kentucky team where they very much were okay with bend, don't break, right? Keep everything in front of you, make sure just get 1 or 2 mistakes, which is exactly what happened. They got a pick late to win it. They forced a field goal on the opening drive, and that was basically the game for UTSA. Now they go against a Rice team that's struggling offensively. They're still really trying to figure out what's happening there. Obviously, Rice would love to control the game defensively and play within the hashes. I think UTSA is more than happy to do that, especially a week after playing against 4 or 5 wide every single play. So if there is concern, I don't think we'll have to worry about it now.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah, exactly. They get the defense at least gets a stay of execution.
Sure.
Down the road, maybe they run into like a red hot UTEP team that can challenge them. Go Miners. Anyway, that's neither here or there. Yeah, I'm not pushing the panic button on UTSA's defense yet.
Not yet.
If they are going to stumble, it's probably going to be at the expense of the defense, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. What's next, Pickle?
Up next, let's head to our small school game of the week. UT Permian Basin at Angelo State, 6 p.m. on a Saturday. Are you buying UT Permian Basin as a legit Lone Star Conference contender?
I think so. I think that they've already got a win over West Texas A&M. That was really big for them. The Lone Star Conference now probably goes through Midwestern State since they have wins over both, I believe it's West Texas and Commerce, which were the two front runners. But I think UT Permian Basin under Coach Justin Kerrigan is certainly a team to be reckoned with. It's interesting. This is a team that Justin Kerrigan is an offensive guy, and their offense has been good. Clayton Roberts, the quarterback there from Houston St. Pius, is doing well there. But it's been the defense that I think has really stood out to me, and has put the Falcons on the map. Going on the road to Angelo is not fun. Angelo
That's a drive.
State is difficult to beat at home at Angelo Stadium. So it'll be certainly a test for them. But if they get past this, then suddenly maybe they become that chief challenger in the Lone Star Conference, which suddenly feels much more wide open. Big game, Lone Star Conference Network. It'll be a lot of fun.
Is he still rocking? Is Kerrigan still rocking the mullet?
Is he still rocking the mullet?
Just double checking. There's the real question.
Let's check if the Pope's still Catholic.
Catholic.
You know what I mean? What's next, Pickle?
Up next, we head over to the Big 12. TCU at number 4, Oklahoma, 13.5-point favorite there in Norman, 6:30 p.m. on Saturday. Over under again, 175.5 rushing yards for TCU. They turned it on last week.
Yeah. Man.
Tougher test this week.
So I made this line.
Yeah,
I put
this line.
I put this line out here, and I'll tell you what it came down to. TCU, when they've been good, and that when they've committed to the run, they've averaged about 250 yards per game on the ground.
Okay.
Oklahoma gives up about an average of 100 yards on the ground.
Right.
So I split the difference. 175 and a half. What happens when strength meets strength?
Yeah.
Part of me thinks, hopefully, that TCU has figured out that the best way to win ball games is to just feed Zach Evans and Kendre Miller.
Yeah.
And just keep doing that. Will they do it? And especially if they fall behind. Because everyone was going gaga over them running for so much over Tech, but they were also playing from ahead.
Yes.
And so if they get stopped for a 2-yard gain, okay, no big deal. The clock still runs.
Right.
If Oklahoma jumps out on them, and I don't know, we'll have to hear from Lincoln Riley in his media availability,
Hopefully
which I presume is still happening.
Right.
What their quarterback situation is going to be like. But if they fall behind, does he stay? Does Gary Patterson and the offensive staff, do they stay committed to that style of running game? Because I do think that's their best path forward.
Sure.
But I also know that some coaches can get a little bit of jumpy whenever they fall behind.
Yeah, I do wonder if Gary Patterson wants this to be the Zach Evans, Kendre Miller offense, or if he wants a balance, right? Because that's where they've kind of fallen behind, is when they've tried to make a balance of it as opposed to leaning on the run game, which I think is their strength. It happened against Texas. They ran the ball very effectively, but they insisted that Max Duggan needed 30 whatever attempts he ended up having. If I don't know. I don't think Max Duggan's a bad quarterback, but he's very much not somebody that, in my opinion, you should base an offense around.
Yeah.
He's not Zach Evans.
Exactly. Look, Texas has Bijan Robinson.
Yeah.
And I think we all agree that Texas's offense should be based around Bijan Robinson.
Yeah.
I don't know why it would be different at TCU with Zach Evans.
If you look at the numbers, Zach Evans averages more yards than Bijan Robinson.
Yeah.
Since last year, since they both got more carries at tail end of last year, he's averaged roughly a yard more than Bijan Robinson. And it's like they're just like, no, not now.
Yeah.
Not now. I don't know.
Sticking with my ways. Yeah.
I don't know what it is. And you mentioned Kendre Miller, who's also averaging over 5 yards, I believe, a carry. I don't know why you just don't base the offense around these two guys. If in an ideal world, yes, this would be hit the over,
Yeah.
but I don't know if they hit that just because I don't know if they stick with the run long enough.
Exactly right. I worry they're going to abandon the run if they get down like 28-10, and they're like, okay, we got to ask Max Duggan to throw the ball 40 times, which is not where they want to live.
By the way, shout out OU Daily, who figured out that Caleb Williams is the starting quarterback for Oklahoma, thanks to their very savvy reporting from a public building spying into Oklahoma practice.
That's what journalism is, folks. And Lincoln Riley can get his
God
mad
bless
if he wants.
binoculars.
And finally, Pickle.
Finally, the game of the week easily there. Louisiana Tech 6.5-point favorites over those 5-1 UTEP Miners, 8 p.m. on a Saturday. And the question for you guys, is Jacob Cowing the most underrated receiver in the nation?
So I don't know every receiver in the nation, but I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say yes. That's what, you know what?
He
I don't
took
listen
all
to
of
this.
his poker
I'm listening to
chips
my
and-
heart. I'm listening to my gut. Okay? That's what my heart and my gut say. Jacob Cowing's awesome.
Yeah, he's
Okay?
great.
He's been such an important part of what they do. He is, I believe, 10th in the nation in receiving yards per game. I mean, he's been a stud for them. Like,
Yeah.
where would they be without Jacob Cowing? I think he's super underrated, and people should be talking more about him.
I will take your Jacob Cowing and raise you as Justin Garrett.
Yeah.
Is he the other? Is he the most underrated receiver on his team?
Yeah,
Justin
true enough.
Garrett's right across from him, and also capable of big plays. I was looking at the numbers for UTEP's offense, and of course we know what they want to do, right? They want to run the ball a little bit. They know that Gavin Hardison can go vertical, and their big playability is insane.
It is.
Other than Air Force and Army, which again, when those two teams dial it up, it's something deep.
It's
'cause
a
they're-
trick play.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Right,
It's
yeah,
a trick play that
exactly.
goes for like 25 yards. Other than those two teams, UTEP is the most explosive in terms of yards per completion. Like
Yeah.
they and they're not a team that it's not a trick play. You know they're going to throw it when they do, and they just hit big plays because they have a big armed quarterback in Gavin Hardison, and they have two big play receivers in Jacob Cowing and Justin Garrett. And anytime they get the ball, it's going to be for something insane, 30 yards, 60 yards, whatever. They're insane. It's a fun offense, and I think they have the most underrated receiving duo in the country.
All right, I'm going to put you on the spot, though.
All right.
UTEP has 6 games to win 1,
Yeah,
okay?
yeah.
To get bowl eligible. Does it happen this week?
I think it happens this week.
I think it happens this week.
I think
too.
it happens this week because
Let's go.
there's and I think it's a 2-game skid coming up. Unfortunately, it's FAU UTSA.
Tough.
Very rough.
Yep.
And then I think UNT Rice to end it. So there's some winnable games
Yeah.
in there as well. But I think Sun Bowl hype is on
At night.
God, I wish we could go.
Let's go.
I think it happens.
Can we
Let's
get a
go.
flight?
It happens.
Let's go. Go Miners.
Yeah.
We're a Miners podcast now. And those are your college football burning questions. Let's go over to Ashley Pickle for America's second favorite segment. Final thoughts.
I think let's do this one more time. We'll throw
Yeah.
up this graphic and remind everyone what we're doing tonight. DCTF
Oh, that's Ishmael Johnson.
Watch
Oh
along.
my gosh.
Are you going to be on the watch along tonight?
Oh my gosh, I am.
Wow! It's the Dave Campbell's Texas Football Watch Along with Ishmael Johnson, Television Zone Ashley Pickle,
No,
myself,
no. Television
along
Zone
with,
Ishmael Johnson.
along with
I am the only one not
Streaming,
on television here right now.
streaming's own, Facebook's own Ishmael
Podcast
Johnson.
Zone Ishmael Johnson. West Mesquite coach Frank Sandoval will be in the barn, as well as South Lake Carroll head coach Riley Dodge. Get some insights from them as we watch Austin Vandegrift and Round Rock Cedar Ridge. You can watch it live with us. It'll be fun. We'll actually showing the game, so you can actually watch the game. It'll be a lot of fun. Make sure you hang out with us tonight, 7 o'clock. Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. We'll be sending out a bunch of links and stuff. So
Yeah.
make sure you hang out with us. Grab a little bevy on the couch and hang out with us. It's going to do it for us. Thanks
Yep.
for spending a little bit of your day with us. Follow us on Twitter at DCTF. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/Dave Campbells. Follow us on Instagram, instagram.com/Dave Campbells. And of course, CSTextfootball.com. Thanks, Ish.
Thank you.
Thanks again to Abernathy coach Justin Wiley for being our guest. For Ashley Pickle, I'm Greg Tepper. Vince Young, please get your Player of the Year trophy. We'll see you tonight for the watch along, and then we'll see you tomorrow on Texas Football Today.